Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Radiant Black podcast. This is a podcast about the massive verse, created, of course, by Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costa. I'm your host, Bash, and I'm joined by my friends and my fellow hosts, Ali and Matt. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty
I'm
good.
doing good.
I was gonna say, go for it. Go
No,
for it.
I'm not. I'm doing good.
You just owe me a Pepsi is all.
Nah. I'll take the
I'm
Coke.
just kidding.
It's been a long day. I'm excited to talk some Dead Lucky issue 10 today with these guys. Unfortunately, Charlie couldn't make it with us today, but hopefully we'll have it next time. How about you, Matt?
Doing good. It's nice to see more Massiverse titles. I'm just used to getting like so many like every week, so it's nice to we're getting back almost to that flow of having a ton of them. Though I don't think we're ever going to get to that point where there is like 2 or 3 books at a time, which I think is beneficial in a lot of ways. But no, I'm excited to talk about Dead Lucky. It's another world building issue, and we've got 2 left in this arc, and this feels like kind of like a book that's in the middle, but we'll talk about it.
Definitely, like wiser words couldn't have been said regarding the status of the book. It feels like we're just due for the end of an arc. I'm curious to see, as everyone else has been, whether it's going to be the end of the volume or the end of the run. But I guess we'll have to wait and find out. One thing that's recently returned is Amazon on Invincible. Oh, sorry, Amazon Invincible on Amazon. There you go, Invincible on Amazon Prime. Or Prime Video. Season 2, episode 1, and you guys know we love Invincible. Obviously, it was one of the big reasons that we wanted to check out Radiant Black. And the first episode I thought was fantastic. What did you guys think?
It was great. Like it's been a long wait. Like oh my, what, like a year and a half? Like it was crazy, almost 2 years. But they nailed it. They kept at the pace. It felt like they didn't take a break, and they got a lot done in that first episode. And I loved it. The only thing I'm mad about is that we're just getting like 4 at a time. They're piecing them up. What about you, Ollie?
Yeah, I love that. I think the thing that impressed me the most is that, like you said, they put a lot into that first episode. Like they are not slowing down. They're not pulling their punches. They went full gear right away. So I'm definitely excited for what's to come.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Us, like, we're all obviously readers of the series, so we could see a lot of what being set up in retrospect, looking back and looking forward. Of course, I think for a lot of other people, it's really interesting to see them try to figure it out and like work out the puzzle. I've been privy to a few conversations, and theories regarding like what's going to happen with the like multiverse aspect, or the multidimensional aspects of it all. And it's just been really fun hearing people's theories because, we know exactly where this is going. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see how they're going to change it, of course, from the comic books are innovated in their own way. But safe to say it was a hell of a debut.
Yeah, and Omni Man's making his way to Mortal Kombat like tonight or tomorrow or something like that. So like it's really cool to see them open the door for image characters. We've had Spawn in Mortal Kombat and now Omni Man. Like Battle Beast, I don't know who was my ideal pick, but like it's really cool to see these characters and Homelander now too from Dynamite, right? Who does the boys? Well, Amazon either way has the. I think they switched published. Either way, we're getting in the weeds, but yeah, it's really cool just to see Invincible's impact and what that means for Image and books like this. When you have the creator of Invincible comparing Radiant Black to it right on the cover of Volume 1, right? So we're really only like 2 degrees away from that in the Massiverse, which is fun.
There's also that Adam Eve game coming out on Steam pretty soon too.
Yeah, the villain's like Universa or something that got me kind of hooked on it. I was like mildly interested, but like yeah, I mean, I can't see how that could be bad. Skybound Games seems to be picking it up, so could be good.
Definitely. Yeah. And so we've got a lot of books on FOC this week, including Radiant Black. So we've had a clarification. If you look on Lunar, it says that Radiant Black 27, 27.5, 28, and 28.5 are final order cutoff this week, as well as Rogue Sun 17 and 18. Michael Basudel, editor of the Massiverse, has clarified that this is a mistake because it's only supposed to be Rogue Sun 17 and Radiant Black 27 and 27.5 that are on FOC this week. We know people have been having some issues getting either 26 or 26.5 or both. And we just want to say we feel you. We've had those issues too. We've tried to communicate with Kyle Higgins and with everyone else. And he actually responded to some in the Discord saying, the situation with Diamond is ultra annoying. Yet another reason why publishers have been leaving Diamond. By the sound of it, all Luna orders were delivered to stores without a problem. Additionally, though, Despite notices from Lunar, Diamond, Image, and myself, a bunch of retailers still on across the fact that it's two unique books. We changed the numbering to 0.5 to help convey to them that both are necessary. The direct market is in rough shape. Nothing is selling particularly well. There are too many books from way too many publishers and retailers are stretched razor thin trying to keep up with everything. And he said, we're going to keep making awesome books and working to get the word out. I'm optimistic that things will get leveled out and things will basically get back on track. Of course, we always give the benefit of the doubt to the Massiverse and everyone involved because they've never let us down. They've always, listened to our feedback and incorporated things that we love as readers and as buyers. So safe to say, I think it's just a matter of time while things get back on, on regular rotation. Yeah, I'm hoping it happens sooner than later, though, because it kind of sucks waiting longer than a month for an issue of radiantblack. I'm not going to lie, but yeah.
Yeah. When you're trailblazing, sometimes the path isn't always clear, and like there's been a lot of big swings, like just doing stuff like a QR code that releases on the same time as that video. Like there's been a lot of magic moments that went by seamlessly. It's only when things don't go as smoothly that you notice them not going as well. And I've been thinking about it a lot, and after seeing the results, of course, like I've been thinking probably would have been easier if they just made it the cover B and just made like a note on the cover, like different story than the other one. And at least ordering, I feel like that could have been a lot easier for retailers. But the 0.5 is also, that makes it evident, but it also makes it a lot more difficult. So it does muddy the waters a bit, but hey, we're gonna get through this. They're gonna be collected much easier, I'm sure, and it'll just be a little speed bump on the road to the Catalyst War and getting through it. But what can you say?
Speaking of that, next volume is either gonna be a really thick book, or they're gonna have to split it up into two different trades.
Is that thick with 3 C's? I'm just making sure.
4 C's. That's basically 12 issues.
Yeah, I preferred if there was all together because I don't like it when events are split up into part 1, part 2, unless they're like massive. Well, I mean, this is Massiverse, so maybe, but I'd rather just have this one book.
I think it would be pretty interesting on a reread to read them all in a row, like all of Marshall's timeline and all of Nathan's timeline. I think that'd be pretty cool too once the volume comes out or the event is over.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like a Catalyst War Deluxe Edition or something. That would be awesome.
Yeah, something like that.
Big ass book collecting all of them. That would be pretty sweet. I'd be happy to pay for that. And then just one last thing I want to clarify is we also do the Rogue Sun podcast, which I highly recommend you check out. We talk about all things Rogue Sun. We're same crew on this team, does the same thing there, which is with fiery goodness. The one thing I do want to mention is that when we got the latest wave of Image Comics solicits, we saw that there was no new Rogue Sun issue solicited. Now, this can mean multiple things. It could mean that because they're expecting or anticipating more delays, that eventually it'll even out to where Rogue Sun 18 does release on that month. So instead of soliciting a future issue, we'll have just a different shuffle of the timeline, which I think all things considered is probable. I don't want to say it's like, likely, but I want to say it could be potentially the case. Another thing is that they might just go on hiatus just because that's the end of another major story arc and they'll have more time. Either way, we'll probably ask Ryan soon. I think new solicits for the upcoming month, I think March or April 2024 is coming up in the next week or so. So at least we'll get to see maybe if there's one then. Either way, you guys know we love Rogue Sun, and I really hope that it keeps going.
There's plenty of meat on the bone there with Rogue Sun. I think they could continue for a long time. But yeah. We'll see where it ends up. If it gets canceled, I'll be super bummed out. Same thing with Dead Lucky, but like Rogue Sun, especially, I just personally really connected with, and I hope it continues. I know Ryan's getting a lot of. He's doing the Infernals, and I think he's writing some other like DC kind of titles or like something like that. So we'll see where it ends up. But I think we're all hoping Rogue Sun continues.
Yep, for sure. And for all you onesies, no one is on FOC this week as well. We got no one number 7. Cover A, B, and C. It was the C being the Walking Dead anniversary cover with freaking Rick. I think it's Rick or Shane. I can't really tell. I don't want to
I think it's the Rick cover. If I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure like it was like, no one gets like the Rick cover as the main guy. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
it's Rick. Yeah, I think it is Rick. Yep. So there you go. No one and Rick. Does it get more badass than that, guys? Connecting cover, of course, with all the other Walking Dead and Massiverse 20th anniversary covers.
And those wondering where our no one coverage is, how do you know it's not out there, hidden?
How do you know it's not on some server? Exactly. You gotta crack the codes. Come on, onesies.
I've been waiting to get feedback from the real fans that have found our coverage.
Anyways, so No One number 7, make sure you're picking that up too. That's been fantastic. Podcast on the side, like In Universe podcast to follow with every issue. Patton Oswalt.
who's in the new
Yeah.
Ghostbusters and stuff, like movie star Patton Oswalt. He's in the show with Kevin James, the hottest meme of the fall. Like, come on, let's go. But yeah, big time. Like that
Yeah.
is a big get for Kyle, and Patton's written comic books too. So like, Patton's a real like nerd's nerd. Gotta love Patton.
Oh yeah, alternatives and I forget what the other one was right before it. That was really good too. So check those out. I think that's it for FOC, guys. In terms of big talk, let's talk about what we're here to talk about, which is the Dead Lucky number 10. Yep. So I'm gonna put up some images here. Let's see.
So things were pretty heated when we last left Dead Lucky. It was Pyre and Dead Lucky against the world. It seemed like with Morrow bots surrounding them, and the protocol was overwritten. So it was pretty intense, and get to see that in this issue.
I think we ended too on Jimmy Moss in the tub, right? Trying to figure out what he's trying to do with the serum or the solution.
That sounds like a band name for whatever reason.
What, Moss in the tub?
Jimmy Moss in the tub. Oh yeah, Moss in the tub. There you go.
It was tub thumping.
Yeah.
Well, I actually lied about the FOC things. But first of all, before we continue to the FOC talk, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Comic Nation US. So Comic Nation US now delivering in, I believe it's the UK, Canada, and America. I want to say those are the three.
Comic Empire, Jesus. Going beyond the nation.
There you go, guys. All your new comic book day needs, you already get 15% off all your orders, and you can use code Radiant Black Podcast for an extra 5% off, totaling 20% off your pre-orders. They also have reward points, which you could use to utilize to get cool things like discounts and other stuff for our future orders. And, they have a huge FOC catalog, every single book you could want. Everything gets delivered minty, fresh. Couldn't recommend them enough myself. You see, it's the background is space, because that's their coverage as well. They actually also deliver to space, Radiant style, baby. So
you're already buying comics. No reason not to get 20% off when you're getting your books on FOC. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Everywhere from America to existence, they got you covered. So check out Comic Nation US. All right. So coming next is we've got the Dead Lucky number 12 cover, which, as you can see, whoopsie, there we go. As you can see, is it's like a homage to Dead Lucky number 1, almost the reverse, right? Where she's out of costume.
Yeah.
What
do you guys think? Cover. I like it.
Yeah. Love the colors.
We had that background in an issue before. I don't remember which one exactly, but I believe it was in the first volume. So it's definitely giving me like a full circle moment between the first and the 12th issue.
Yeah, that's why there's been a lot of speculation this could be the end of Dead Lucky. I don't know, but at least it would tie up the bookends pretty nicely if this was the end for a while, at least. I think it's really clever. And like this cover, it sticks out a lot, more so than most of the other covers to me. So good job.
Agreed. It's a really nice cover. I really dig it. I can't wait to get it to complete the run. I think it's if this is the end of the run, I think it's a really nice way to close out the run visually in terms of the covers. And I can't wait to read the story because it gave me a lot. We were talking about it a lot when we first saw the cover. We were wondering what the outcome was going to be, whether it's going to be the end. It's a very curious time for Dead Lucky.
Yeah.
Without further ado, this is Dead Lucky number 10. This is the issue we're covering today. Obviously, spoilers, full spoilers. This is by Melissa Flores. Ooh, I don't know where the credit page is. I had one. Melissa Flores, French Carlo Magno, Mattia Iacono, and Becca Carey. Of course, editor and designer Michael Basudel, and I believe production art design by Wesley Griffith. And of course, we always get the amazing cooking recipes by Sandra Wynn. So this is just an awesome book for that reason alone. The trade is that much thicker because of those awesome recipes. We still have to do one of these days. We're gonna do one for sure. Yeah, it's just hard to coordinate that, but we gotta find a way.
We'll get in the Cosmic Kitchen and get cooking and do some stuff. I don't know. Could be trouble. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And it's always a win with Sandra's recipes. Really, like, it spices up the issues and gives it that certain je ne sais quoi at the end, which is always nice.
Yeah.
Je ne sais quoi.
So this is an interesting issue because as you can look at the cover there, it's subtle, but if you've got a keen Massiverse eye, it's something you can notice is that we've got obviously the standard Morrow bots there, but we've also got the more lethal new bots that we're going to see are introduced inside this issue. Elevating the stakes, and as we saw last issue, there's now a lethal kill command that's been activated, and we're trying to figure out how and by whom that it was. Who activated it? God damn it. Anyways, so as we see, the place is still a war zone. Shit's still going crazy. I thought this one particular panel was really interesting because we can see Ghost like basically straddling like one of the Morrow bots with it's like a whip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a flame whip.
Before that, like he went to swing on like the lamppost, and like they didn't show the lamppost again, but I'm pretty sure it would have melted like instantly and not worked. But it was still cool that he can get his like thwip on and stuff. That's good stuff.
Little Spider-Man action.
Yeah, tis the season, right? Spider-Man 2. We're still in the aftermath of that, and I'm wondering where Pyre's Adidas costume is. I think that's upcoming. Probably. I don't know if Kyle's won that deal, but we'll see.
Oh God, let's not go there, please. I have very strong feelings about that, but honestly, just from those first few pages, I don't think these street bots are made to handle people like Pyre and Deadluck Excalibur. They're kind of folding pretty easily.
Yeah, it's true, and we see later on that there is an answer for that, apparently. But yeah, I think you're right. It's just for keeping civilians aligned, and like the heads almost look like cameras, just to like imply you're being viewed, right? Like the surveillance kind of deal, like a panoptic prison. When you think you're being watched, is when you'll behave a lot differently than when you don't. Which I like that little design aspect.
Definitely.
Exactly.
One thing I wanted to mention earlier is that we do start the issue where we're talking to Jimmy Moss. Basically, we find out that he's dying. So this experiment might have not gone as successful, though we are seeing some changes to his complexion, his face. There's some weird colors popping up. So perhaps there is something taking root, and he lets Corinne know that he wants to replicate where they are at in terms of replicating the formula or the compound or whatever it is, because they need to. He needs to be able to save himself to save Morrow. So obviously he's still a delusional prick, and that's where we cut back to the battlefield. But I just thought that would be important to mention because we see some development for Jimmy Moss.
Yeah, it could be
like. Yeah, apparently.
Go for it. I was going to say it's kind of like Joker in like Arkham City, right, where he's all messed up, and then I'm not going to spoil Arkham City, but I don't think Jimmy's going to stay on the bench for a while. I think that like it looks like we're gonna get some Android stuff going on once he gets the goo, because we have like the panels on the faces. So yeah. Anyways, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to see what he turns out to be, like the extent of his powers or whatever. But I just find it interesting that he doesn't care what's happening with the Morrow bots. So this tells me that this whole Morrow enterprise company that he's running, it's just about keeping him alive. Like I believe for the first time, we finally understand his true motivation.
Oh yeah, I like that idea. It's like Prometheus kind of. Like I like that. In my head, Ken, I like the idea that he's not actually sick. He has like a cold or something. Like I'm dying, Corn. Like he's just really rich.
That's a good take, though. Yeah, I like your take though. Like I think that makes a lot of sense, And
he seems so unbothered by everything that's going.
Yeah, and like BB here is not sure how to de-escalate the situation. So even though like there's this, the middle war zone started, the bots are all lethal right now. Torrid's in the middle. She sees, Torrid there and she recommends to get the civilians clear. That's where we go back to Pyre and Stoker, who are actually in the middle of the warfare. This is a funny moment actually, where because Stoker is in the middle, she wants to yell to Ghost to save her, so she says, "Ghost, I need you," and that's where Pyre is just like, "What?" And she's like, "Not you." I thought that was a funny, appropriately funny moment. Actually, I really like the expression there by French.
I love how she like looks embarrassed through the mask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Super emotive, amazing stuff.
Definitely. I think that's the most expressive moment with the mask on, unless there's other moments where she's like angry, like in like finales and stuff. But that moment does stick out a lot. Of like, oh, what? Like I like that.
Yeah.
Also, this maybe. I just have a question real quick. This may be my fault, but what are Stoker's powers?
Nobody
does
knows,
he have powers, or is he just like a fighter?
Is he? I think he's just like, so far, at least based on what we've seen, I think he's just a fighter, dude. Like
maybe he's like Pyro, where he can like manipulate it but can't make fire. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe Stoke and fire, Stoke and Pyre.
Yeah,
go together.
Maybe just Stoke.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
he's like the light
it
to his
hasn't been
match.
explicitly said. Yeah,
He stokes his flames. I don't know.
Yeah.
he goes to the store to
Interesting.
get the gasoline or something.
Are they
Yeah,
just waiting for us to give them ideas, and they're just putting him in the book until someone comes up with a really good idea, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was his power all along." Actually, he was just getting his ass whooped in these panels.
I'm gonna do that. That's a good move. It's like you write something, someone starts a podcast, and you just post up and like, oh shit. No, I don't know. I think we definitely know what ideas we're doing, and there've been a lot like laid out here, especially. Although like we have been wanting a mech, and we got one. Anyways, that's
Yeah.
later on. But yeah,
We get a little bit more of Winston in this issue too.
yeah. Vincent gets to chill.
I'm really curious about like what BB says in the next panel, where she's like, "Since when have you not cared about like collateral damage?" I thought that was particularly interesting because she's letting them know like, okay, he turned the place into a war zone. Obviously, as we progress down the issue, we see that Morrow's in the shitter. They're in a crisis, and everyone from within, like, shit's going down because they're trying to figure out who authorized the lethal kill command in terms of like letting the robots go. But that's where they're panicking because they're beginning to worry that people are going to dig in deeper into the sinister things that they've been up to, including these. What do they call them?
D426.
Yeah, but are they like war? They're specifically made for war, right, or something like that. They're like war bots.
Something
I
like that,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, the A.I.D
So she said it's
protocol.
not meant for the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Valentine
yeah,
said it's not meant for the streets.
yeah. So the A.I.D protocol is confirmed again. Someone triggers the protocol again. Is it Valentine that's doing it?
That's
I
the
don't
question.
know.
I don't know who it is. I mean, it could be anyone. Like I almost think like it could be even like Guy. Even it could be freaking what's his face?
It could be
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
It could be
like,
Jimmy Ross.
Jimmy's a good question too because he doesn't care, but he does seem off his game. He doesn't seem like he planned this. Like I'm done. I mean, maybe he did, but he seemed pretty frazzled. Like I don't care what's going on. I'm sick. I'm dying. So it's either way, but it could be Jimmy.
Are we missing
Yeah.
anybody? Like I don't think we are. Like who else could possibly do this? I don't know.
I don't know. I do want to say though, we were talking about this earlier. Their designs are really cool, like the
Yeah.
D426 or whatever it's called. Yeah, they do look freaking awesome. Yeah, so really cool design. I think it really adds lore to the Morrow verse aspect of the Massiverse, right? Or the Morrow aspect of the Massiverse, I guess you could say. So just the Morrow aspect where you focus more on the tech side. I think this is a really cool development, and I really enjoyed the aesthetics. I'm curious on like Maria's reaction. I think kind of like made us like her even more as a character because she's always been someone who's held her convictions like strongly. And I think we see more of that in this issue where her first reaction to this is disgust and guilt because she feels like instead of being part of this really shady ass company, she should be out there trying to help the people. And that's immediately what she does after this reaction.
Yeah, there's a bit of this in like Walking Dead arcs when you see people like, I mean, pretending to be like work with the saviors to like maybe turn on them or something like that. But like this would have been this was a moment where, like, geez, is this a time to turn, Maria? Like, to if you can prevent these bots or somehow get them to self destruct. But I get that she's a crucial person on the inside of Morrow that can't do it quite yet. But you didn't have to say like, oh, you got here pretty late later on in the issue to BB when it's like you did unleash these robots and stuff like that. But I guess I don't know. I don't know. I hope there's a good chat like later in issue 11. Like, oh, these big ass robots. Yeah, they come from here. This is the base. Because like otherwise, you're unleashing hell, and she could have potentially stopped it. Like she could probably take Valentine.
Oh yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah. Plus,
Agreed.
Valentine's been working the desk for a while, right? So like Maria's probably more used to like being on the streets and like combat and stuff. Anyways, just a thought.
It's interesting though that we see that this actually comes back later in the moment because as we turn our shift back to Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, where BB and Pi are amidst all the war zone part of the city, we see that the bots have been called into duty. So we have the rest of the rest of BB's bots are here, and that's where Maria interrupts the call to let her know, okay, the protocol was activated again. This time in the financial. She said what in the financial district or something like that, and she's just telling them that this is where she says one of them is a war machine. So this is like definitely made for war or something like that, and that's where we see that Lucky complete the extraction of Stoker. She gets him to safety, and that's where she tells him that she needs him and Pyre to go help the civilians. That's where we see the Pyre's true face, because he says he doesn't give a shit about the fire because they didn't start the fire. They just want to let Morrow burn. That's where I think their paths diverge, because Dead Lucky, aka Viviana, she plays as the true hero, right? We see the 8 protocols confirmed. Rather than linger on and try to what do you call it? Persuade him. Yeah, or yeah, she goes to save people. And specifically, we see this moment come back where Maria, who has jumped to the aid of a child behind a rock and is about to be exterminated by one of these new D426 bots, she's saved just in time by Bibiana, right? Who manages to roll in with her bots, save them. We can see in the background of this image. And that's where, and on the other hand, by pure like luck and opportunity, Pyre happens to encounter Kane, who is there to actually provide support to Bibiana and the rest of the Morrow people. So Pyre intercepts this and is very happy. As you can see here, he's got her by the neck, and he starts destroying all her shade. Forget what they're called. What are they called?
The drones.
The drones, yeah, the drones. He starts taking down the drones one by one. That's where it's a big oh shit moment for Bibiana, because yes, on the one hand she saved Maria and they have this really cute moment, their fingers touch, maybe there's something a little bit more there. Bibiana has to jump straight back into the bot and get the fuck out, because as Winston updates her, Spaceman has taken out only 2 of them, but there's still a currently active D426, and Kane's up on the roof to provide support with the drones, but that's not the case, because as we see in this image, fucking Kane's got her ass whooped by her. Like, look at that, smacked in the face at the bottom right panel there. So
yeah, that looked like it hurt. That looked like it hurt. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that just knocked her out.
Yeah, Kane and not able to defend yourself against Pyre when he's really pissed, and like he's just killing the drones. Like he doesn't care. I dig it. Also, what you mentioned earlier about Pyre, like this is like the heel turn for him, like the really, kind of. Just saying I don't care if it all burns. Like you remember, like BB went home feeling like a failure, like she lost all her people, but she had a support system. She had Eddie, she had her parents and stuff like that. Pyre crawled out of the friggin' desert and got shot at and stuff like that. So that might jade you when you already died, which I don't know what it's like when your brain restarts or however the hell he came back, So it's not justified, but you understand how he ended up on this path.
Right. It's not like a complete change of character. It definitely led up to that moment. I want to add to, do you guys find it kind of sus that Stoker doesn't speak? Like, he's just chilling there. He's silent. Like, now I'm starting to be suspicious of Stoker. What if he's like a double agent?
Yeah.
It could be a robot, too, that they don't want to fool anybody, right? Because we're working with tech. You never know.
Like that.
Is that, I don't know. Seriously.
I like that.
I just want to know what he does, though.
I know. It's so mysterious. It's all I can think about right now. Is like, what is this guy's
dressed
deal?
like the tracksuit mafia? You know what I mean? Like green tracksuit looking radiant costume. I don't know what it is.
Maybe he can feed off power because like Bram Stoker Dracula, and he like feeds off, like Dracula feeds off blood. I don't know. That's just a long shot, but the names usually mean something, and stoking flames, but also who knows? But
I think that's stoking chaos.
It's true. It's a good point. He is always there, like whenever shit gets really wild, and then he leaves to go do who knows what. So that's interesting. Well, we don't know. It could be a robot. Could be he. Could be a female. We've seen that trick pulled.
He disappears again. We see Pyre with Kane, but where the hell is Stoker? Who knows? It's probably work on his next scheme.
They're figuring out his powers. He's a work in progress. But I do think the reaction of Bibiana to this is badass, where she just goes like, I don't need Kane, I got this, and she's like, go squad, active formation. And then we see the moment you've all been waiting for, the Megazord of the robots. They all come together to form the Dead Lucky Squad formation. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
So honestly, I think the robots never looked better. Like, this makes so much sense to me. This is how the robot should always look. It should just be one big ass fucking robot. I understand why it's not this way. Like, I that makes complete sense to me. But once you see it like this, you're kind of like, I don't know if we can ever go back. It's too good. It's
clicks. Like something just clicks.
Yeah. It just looks so much better. Yeah.
When we first saw BB at the end of Supermassive, was this the robot behind her, or was it the other one? Because I feel like there was a giant ass robot behind her. Like we'd have to go and look, but I don't know. It might not even be this one. but like I feel like back in there was like a massive one behind her, bigger than whatever. I could be wrong, but either way, BB and her various robots are always a nice addition to her kit, and this was really cool. This robot looks like he can take some hits and dish them out.
As cool as I think this robot is, and as long as I've waited for this moment, I do miss like Ghost's face. You know how like in the first volume he had like a little face. I kind of miss that design. I love the Megazoid too.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's actually a really good point. So this is the final page that we end on this issue. It's a really big moment. Obviously, a great cliffhanger to end on because the next issue there's gonna be some payoff. We're gonna see some ass kicking. I'm curious to see what's gonna happen, especially with the thing that's interesting me the most right now is who released the kill order. I think did we see this last issue and we just forgot? Because that's also possible. I feel like
who unleashed. I feel like it just happened, but I mean, I could check, but I did feel like it was just like kill order. I'll check.
Well, and I checked Supermassive. We actually in that no, it's actually multiple bots around her. You can see at least 3.
Okay, so it's the squad probably. Okay.
Yeah. What I'm just realizing is we can talk about it at a different time. But I think that what she killed, like the little cat creature she killed, I think that's from Infernal Go Red, actually.
Jesus. I don't think we saw who did. I think it just was like a protocol. Like it literally just was like a red screen that came up and was like,
yeah, no, we never saw who did it. We just saw the robots kind of change. Their visor turns red, and they say the protocol is activated, and they start shooting.
Yeah,
could be
right.
No one. Could be a big crossover coming out. No, who knows? But I think we've got a lot kindling as we head into these last 2 issues, at least as far as we know. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm interested.
I think Matt said it earlier, but this one moved a lot of pieces forward. It did a lot of laying out for the future issues. So this was a really good plot setter, I guess you could say, for future issues. I don't think it's as good as the last issue because some of it was similar, but I think that doesn't take away from how good this issue was. I just think this one's more of a setup as opposed to showing you the payoff. So yeah, I do think it makes the last 2 issues really, really more exciting because I think they paced it out really well. Because now we can dunk it for the last 2 issues. We just have that where we can just go through. Assuming these are the last 2 issues, as far as we've seen, we don't know if it's ending on 12. There have been no confirmations or anything. For what I will say is that if it does end at 12, I do hope they make another volume in the future because it's been such a great story, and I think it'd be cool to explore other aspects of the story.
Or at least see her in Supermassive 2024.
For sure. Fight's never really over if you're a soldier, right? And like we could have her. We need like a general to bring her back in, like Rambo, for all those sequels and stuff like that going on. Like I think it'd be great. BB would be a great character just to have around, just in the nexus of the Massiveverse to bring in. Like if there's a Catalyst War, I still would like to see BB come in because there's a bunch of robots, right? And I feel like that'd be a perfect place to bring her in. But we'll see, right? It'd be nice to see her going forward because she really is, especially in groups. I think she's a great leader, like we saw in Supermassive 2, Supermassive for those who like puns. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to see the conclusion of this arc at the very least.
I agree. I think it's been an exciting arc. I can't wait to see what happens at the end. I'm very curious, like what's going to happen to Jimmy Moss, how that's all going to play out, because is he going to turn into like something else, or is he going to be like a cyborg? I don't know. Is he going to, you know what I mean? Is he going to be like half human, half robot? I'm just curious to see how the whole thing's going to play out. It has been exciting. I hope the next issue we get more reveals and more focus on the other players, because I'm very curious to see where that goes. And I think we're all still curious about whether we're going to see Eddie as a ghost. So
yeah, that's so.
I'm still banking on that happening.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it in terms of our Dead Lucky coverage. Oh yes, patrons. So let's talk about our patrons. Obviously, we've got the Radiant Black Podcast Patreon, and you could subscribe to our Patreon. Help us keep the lights on, get the show going. It's just something we always use towards improving the show, making new segments. We have a newsletter recently. We were supposed to release it, but it's in work in progress because of all the delays. It's kind of shifted some of the content, but it will come out. So as you can see, we've got our patrons. So we want to say thank you to our patrons, Noah M, Patrick, Joe J, and Jordan C. You guys are amazing. We appreciate your patronage. If you are interested in our Patreon, I think we have 2 tiers. One that's the price of a comic in Canada, so $3.99 Canadian, which is even cheaper than US, and then one's like $1.99. So yeah, we appreciate any and all forms of support. We really do, and we always, even if you're just a listener and you listen to our show, you could just leave a like, subscribe, or please just leave a podcast review. That helps us a lot. And
or
the
use
fact
our
that people
sponsor.
listen to us.
Go with Comic Nation, use that code. That kind of stuff goes a long way into helping the podcast grow and making it work. Just like buying the books really helps the Massiverse continue on. And we appreciate all that support, listening, likes. The feedback is great too, even just on top of the algorithm. It's just really nice to hear other people listening and getting in on the discussion. So I do want to thank all our listeners. The podcast doesn't happen without you guys. And we wouldn't have a Rogue Sun podcast without, such great feedback. And thanks a lot. And we really do appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah,
definitely. We wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah, so please, we still can't believe people take time out of the day sometimes to listen. Let's talk about the Massiverse, so it's great. But I guess we have interesting and fun things to say about it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Where are you going to see us next? I believe the next issue, we were looking at this earlier, and we're not entirely sure what the next issue is coming out is, right? No one, Radiant Black and Rogue Sun are FOC this week. That means one of them is going to be the next one, assuming they all release around the same time. So
it'll be FOC thing if neither of those come in. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see though. I feel like it might be Rogue Sun, but we'll see, right? It's hard to tell, but at least we got the books.
That's true. And we will have some interesting videos coming soon, one of which is the fan casting we've been talking about. That's in the works. Can't wait to do that. It's coming out very soon. Just a matter of time. Before 2024. I'll say that. Before 2024.
Before Miyamoto drops the Zelda cast, we'll have our casting out, okay?
Yep, exactly. So yeah, stay tuned to the Radiant Black podcast. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Stay radiant.